I never imagined that a single night, a night meant to celebrate love, family, and new beginnings, could turn into the most humiliating moment of my life. But there I was, sitting in a crowded room, the hum of polite conversation filling the air, the clink of glasses echoing around me, and all eyes suddenly turning toward me for reasons I hadn't expected. It was my younger brother's engagement party. A beautiful venue, crystal chandeliers casting a warm glow, people dressed in their finest, smiles everywhere. The kind of place where stories are made and memories captured in photographs that will be shared for years to come. But for me, that night would be etched into my memory for something else, for the moment my own blood publicly tore me down. I had come alone, clutching my daughter's hand tightly. Mia was only 10, dressed in a simple but sweet thrifted dress that I had fixed up just for the occasion. She was excited, full of hope, seeing this night as a fairy tale, a chance for us to feel like we belonged somewhere, like family was finally something we could hold on to. And maybe, just maybe, I hoped the same. Then my brother stood up to speak. I braced myself, expecting the usual warm words. Instead, his voice cut through the room like a knife. With a smirk, he mocked me, right there, in front of everyone, calling me a single mom who no one else wanted. The room erupted with laughter, sharp and cruel. My heart stopped. I was paralyzed, unable to believe the words coming from the mouth of someone I once called family. I looked down at Mia, confused and hurt, trying to understand why her own uncle would say such things about her mother. Before I could answer, another voice joined in, my mother, louder than anyone else, adding fuel to the fire with her biting comment about me being a second-hand product. The laughter grew, the humiliation deepened, and I wanted nothing more than to disappear. But then, something unexpected happened. From the head table, a chair scraped back, and my brother's fiancé stood up. He didn't look amused. He didn't look away. His eyes locked onto mine, and the entire room fell silent. What happened next changed everything. He spoke with a calm but fierce conviction, refusing to let cruelty be disguised as a joke. He defended me, my dignity, my struggles, my worth, in a way no one else ever had. That night, the silence he imposed on the crowd was louder than any laughter had been. And for the first time, I wasn't the one left broken. I still remember the feeling the moment I walked into that grand hall. The polished floors reflected the sparkling chandeliers hanging overhead, their light bouncing off crystal glasses and gilded table settings. Soft music floated through the air, a string quartet playing classics that mingled with the quiet buzz of conversations and laughter. Everything looked perfect, as if this night was plucked from the pages of a glossy magazine. But the moment I stepped inside, I felt like an intruder in someone else's story. My hand clutched Mia's tightly, seeking comfort for both of us. She was my little anchor, 10 years old, with wide curious eyes and a smile that could light up even the darkest days. Tonight, she wore a dress I had found at a thrift shop, carefully washed and stitched over the past week to make it look new. Her shoes, a little scuffed but clean, tapped nervously on the polished floor as we made our way through the crowd. I had saved every penny I could, working early mornings at the diner and late nights at the hotel front desk, just to make this night possible. I wanted Mia to experience family. To feel the warmth and joy that I had been denied growing up. Yet, the closer we got to the center of the celebration, the more I felt the chill of invisible walls closing in. Faces I once knew greeted me with polite nods but no warmth. My mother's gaze slid past me as if I were a ghost, her attention glued to Ethan, my younger brother, the golden boy, the star of the night. I could almost hear the unspoken words behind those glances, "You don't belong here." I swallowed hard, brushing off the lump in my throat. Mia's small hand squeezed mine, her excitement undiminished. I wanted to believe, wanted to hold on to the hope that maybe, just this once, family meant something more than judgment. We found our table at the back of the room, tucked away near the restrooms. It felt like a safe corner, away from prying eyes. I helped Mia settle into her chair, smoothing her hair as best I could. "Look, Mom," she whispered, eyes wide. "The chandelier looks like a spaceship." I smiled, a genuine one this time, because in that moment, I wanted to believe. But the night was only just beginning. The speeches started off harmless enough. The best man stood up first, cracking jokes that earned a few polite chuckles. I watched the crowd, noting who was paying attention and who was scrolling on their phones. Mia sat on the edge of her seat, eyes glued to the stage. She was enchanted by the fairy tale unfolding before her, the kind of magical evening she deserved. Then came Ethan. He walked to the microphone with the practiced ease of someone used to being the center of attention. The room quieted instantly, all eyes on him. I straightened in my chair, a flutter of nerves in my chest. Mia looked up at me, excitement shining in her face. Maybe, I thought, he would say something kind. Something that would mend the invisible cracks between us. But then his voice, smooth, controlled, but dripping with sarcasm, cut through the room. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, he began, lifting his glass. It means the world to me and my fiancé to celebrate surrounded by family and friends. His eyes flicked over the crowd, and then they landed on me. I smiled politely, my heart pounding. He paused, just long enough to draw attention, then added with a sly grin, and of course, a special shout out to my big sister, Anna. A flicker of hope sparked within me. Mia's eyes lit up. But then came the words that shattered everything. She's been such a role model, Ethan continued, his voice dripping with false sweetness. A single mom, strong and independent, sure. But let's be honest, nobody else wanted her. The room exploded with laughter. A sharp, cruel sound that felt like a slap against my skin. I froze. My hands clenched the napkin in my lap until my knuckles turned white. My breath caught. Mia looked at me, confusion and hurt twisting in her young face. Her small hand gripped mine tighter. Mom, she whispered, why are they laughing at you? Before I could answer, the nightmare deepened. From across the room, my mother's voice rang out, louder than anyone else's. She's a second-hand product, she said with a laugh, but hey, at least she still looks decent for her age. The laughter grew louder. The kind of laughter that didn't try to hide its cruelty. Faces blurred in front of me. People pointed, whispered, smirked. I felt the weight of 1,000 eyes, not filled with love or empathy, but with judgment and scorn. My grandfather looked down at his plate, avoiding my gaze. My cousin smirked at her phone, indifferent. Even my uncle, who once told me I reminded him of my late father, looked away. I was invisible. Except when they wanted to mock me. Mia's small shoulders shook as tears welled up in her eyes. Why, Mom? She asked softly, voice trembling. How do you explain to a child that the people who are supposed to love you most can be the ones who hurt you deepest? I swallowed the lump in my throat and forced a smile. It's not true, baby, I whispered. I'm okay. But inside, something inside me broke. Not because of the words, I had heard worse. Not because of the laughter, I had learned to ignore it. But because of the way Mia looked at me, so small, so confused, so heartbroken. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about protecting her from a world that could be cruel and unforgiving. The room spun around me. I wanted to run. To grab Mia's hand and disappear into the night. But my legs felt like lead. My mouth was dry. My heart pounding in my ears. And then, a chair scraped back. Everyone fell silent. A figure stood up. It was Liam, Ethan's fiancé. He looked directly at me, eyes steady, unwavering. And the room held its breath. Liam stood up. Slowly, deliberately. The scrape of his chair against the polished floor cut through the room like a sudden chill. Every eye turned to him, Ethan's fiancé, always the picture of calm and composure. But tonight, there was no smile. No rehearsed charm. Just a steady, unwavering gaze locked onto me. For a long moment, he said nothing. The silence stretched, thick and heavy, until the room itself seemed to hold its breath. Then he took the microphone. I've heard a lot about family, Liam began, his voice low but clear. About tradition, loyalty, and appearances. But what I just witnessed tonight, that wasn't family. His eyes scanned the room, landing on each face that had laughed or looked away. What I saw was cruelty. Mockery disguised as humor. A family tearing one of its own apart. He stepped closer, not rushing but with purpose, as if carrying the weight of every unspoken truth. I saw my fiancée, a woman I love and respect, ridiculed for being a single mom. For raising her daughter alone, with strength and grace. And instead of support, she got scorn. Liam's voice grew firmer. Ethan, you're her brother. Instead of standing with her, you chose to humiliate her. Do you realize how deep that wound cuts? He turned to my mother next, eyes hardening. Judging someone for their sacrifices isn't tradition. It's cruelty in disguise. And I refused to be part of it. The room fell utterly silent. No one dared interrupt. Liam's gaze softened as he looked at Mia and me. Anna didn't come here for pity. She didn't ask for a spotlight. But if this is the kind of family we represent, then I have to question the kind of man I want to be, and the life I want to build. He set down the microphone without another word and walked out, leaving the room stunned into quiet reflection. The silence lingered long after Liam left. It wasn't uncomfortable, it was a reckoning. Mia looked up at me, wide-eyed, still trying to process everything. I bent down, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear, and smiled, not out of relief, but out of quiet strength. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel invisible. I stood up, holding Mia's hand tightly, and walked toward the exit with my head held high. Eyes followed us, some filled with newfound respect, others with shame. I didn't need to say a word. My walk, my calm, my presence spoke louder than any argument ever could. As we reached the door, Mia whispered, "Mom, are we going home now?" I smiled. "Yeah, baby. Home." Outside, the cool night air wrapped around us like a promise. Grandpa Norman caught up and placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. "I'm sorry, Anna. I should have said something a long time ago." I nodded, not angry. "It's okay. I'm done carrying their mistakes." We walked away from that night, from the judgment and pain, toward a future I would build on my own terms. I still work hard. I still face challenges. But now, I carry myself differently. Strong. Proud. Unbreakable. And beside me is Mia, my greatest triumph, my reason to keep fighting. No matter what comes next, I know one thing for sure, I will never let anyone make me feel unworthy again.